Is there anything better than a Baileys of hot chocolate while watching the stars on a cold night? I haven't found a cold weather activity that beats this yet. We stayed in Lake Tekapo, which was a half-hour away, and on the way to Mt Cook Lakeside Retreat, we got sidetracked by this incredible sunset. This spot was called Lake Pukaki Viewing Spot, which I've linked down in the description for you. This is one of the best viewpoints I saw in this area because it was elevated on a cliff and had the most stunning views of the mountains in the background. And it doesn't look like it here, but Lake Pukaki is actually really pointy. And I think you can see Mt Cook in the background. When we turned into the lodge, it was a bit of a long drive on the gravel to the reception and restaurant. There was a fork in the path with the left fork leading to the restaurant and the right fork leading to the observatory. When we got there, we noticed it was pretty quiet, which only added to the serene beauty of the mountains and the location. The restaurant at Mt Cook Lakeside is called Moraine Lodge, which is a fine dining restaurant. We walked into a large open area with tall ceilings, a chandelier and a roaring fire, and we chose to sit at a table near the mountain view. It was happy hour, so we got a cocktail and a glass of Pinot Noir. It's really nice. The entree was smoked duck with quince puree and goat's cheese. It was a strong start and the flavours mixed well together with the sweet quince offsetting the smoky duck. The bread was also simple but good. It was warm and fluffy inside with a crunchy exterior, perfect for a cold night, and the butter was soft and spreadable. Next we had a salmon dish with salmon roe and nori tuile on top with nori sauce on the side as well. This dish was such an absolute standout. To be honest, after eating at Mt Cook Alpine Salmon Shop, I didn't know if salmon could get any better in New Zealand, even if we were eating in the cold. I was desperately trying to scrape off every bit of sauce from this dish. After that, we also had the venison and beetroot, which was really tender, followed by lamb with a parsnip croquette. I'm usually not a big fan of meaty mains, but both of these were cooked exceptionally well and had no gamey flavour to it. I was also really interested in how they presented their sauce to keep it overflowing on the plate. We had this wine from the cellar called the Tati Bogler Pinot Noir from 2020. It had rich, juicy flavours, and we liked it so much that we got a bottle of it. After the palate cleanser, we had a creme brulee dessert with a crunchy sugar top and a tuile, because I thought the crunchy top on the creme brulee would be enough, but the tuile actually added an extra dimension of flavour and texture as well. After dinner, we drove to Pukaki Observatory, which was on the other side of the retreat. We were given a drink of our choice, with the selection being from a red wine, a Pinot Noir, a white, a Saint Laurent, and a selection of whiskey. However, what I got was a hot chocolate with Baileys, which was perfect for the cold winter night. We were also offered hot water bottles, with one of the guides highly recommending it while patting the hot water bottle under his jacket. And as if a hot chocolate Baileys wasn't enough chocolate, we were offered more chocolate. It was a handmade chocolate that looked like the galaxy, and it was a perfect sweetness to accompany my hot chocolate. While Pukaki Observatory is a cellar itself and is closed from the elements, we walked through the curtains to the outdoor area where the telescope was situated. There were red lights there which are better for night vision, and a big Astros telescope which was in the middle of the room. One of the guides pointed out some of the common stars with his laser pointer, like Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky, and also Alpha and Beta Centauri, which point to the Southern Cross. I'm not gonna lie, I was really impressed by the laser pointer and how strong the light was. We got to look at a few different stars through the telescope. And then we also got to see the moon. We came on the night of a full moon, which meant it was really bright, and you can see it reflected on my face as well. In bigger astro tours, we haven't been able to ask how the telescope works, but during this tour, the guide showed us the ropes. We were also given an opportunity to find one of the stars in the sky And then they attached a camera to the telescope to show us how to take astrophotography. A couple of the cool things that I learnt from this was that the camera actually tracks the sky at the same time, so the telescope moves. Also, the telescope remembered all the names of the stars, which meant that you can just choose a star and the telescope will automatically move to it.
It's following the sky. If we didn't have that, if we did a long exposure, the stars would move during that time and everything would be blurry. But because it's tracking, we can do long exposures.
My favourite part was pressing the button on the iPad and seeing all of the stars appear. One of the shots was a shorter exposure, which meant that we could just see pretty much what the naked eye sees, plus a few more stars. And then we saw a second photo with longer exposure, where you could see all of the gases surrounding the stars as well, which was incredibly beautiful. The photo we took was of the Carina Nebula, which had a keyhole in the middle of it.
That's the Eta Carina star. It's within the Carina Nebula.
So those are all gases?
Yeah, these are gases, and then they're being illuminated by all these stars around it. The other colloquial name for this is known as the Keyhole Nebula. Do you see
Because
it?
of the keyhole here?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
This was such a fun activity, and I love the fact that it was such a small group, which meant that we could laugh, make jokes, and banter as well. At the end of stargazing, we went back inside to warm up before we headed home. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up to support me, and subscribe to see my next adventure, Ballet by the Sea at Qualia in Pas de Deux.